Hi, I'm really excited to be here today. And yes, we're going to talk about Google, which is a very interesting company, but we're also going to talk about something that is maybe even more interesting, and that is the reason why we will talk about Google. So the reason why we will talk about Google today is that I think that we have to challenge conventional thinking in management. Our way of traditional thinking in how to lead and organize organization will have to change. And I will tell you why. So, if we go to what's happening around us, I think we all agree, right, that there is a very rapid technological development going on out there. We have new competitors, and they are not only excellent in manufacturing any longer, they're actually having the ambition and the goal to become excellent in innovation as well. And you can sort of imagine what will happen when we are there. We have China, Brazil, and India, excellent innovation as well. So we need to think about innovation. We also have a globalization going on that is increasingly increasing. We have globalization in the form of knowledge that is more and more becoming commodity. We have smart people easily accessible all over the world if we want to reach them and we know where they are. We can easily start a company in one market and start selling in another market. All these things are changing the rule of the games. We also have an innovation economy. And why I call that is that today the customer is expecting innovation and changes and improvements all the time. And as Michael Dahlén from Handelshögskolan in Stockholm said, we are living in an expectation society. The customer wants more all the time. The innovation will also be the differentiator. It will not be the cost efficiency and low cost. It will be innovation that will be sort of the differentiator between competitors. And if we look around, we also see the disruptions coming more and more frequently. So all these things are making or leading companies into a situation where they have to be really skilled to do continuous innovation. It has to be part of the core of the business, a part of the DNA of the companies. And from research and from the real world, we also know that large companies, they lose steam and they can even die. We know for sure that the average lifespan of a company is decreasing while the average lifespan of a human being is increasing. So we know that for a fact. And the only way they can succeed and prolong their life is actually to keep pace with that rapid change, which is exponential today. It's not linear anymore. And for that reason, we must challenge the conventional management thinking, because that thinking is based on a linear development thinking. It's based on a world that is quite stable and where the insecurity is quite limited. And that is not the fact anymore. We live in another kind of world today, and therefore we have to challenge that conventional management thinking we have. Google, and this is the reason why we come to Google, has built a quite unorthodox management model that is built on solely one purpose: to live in that kind of world, in a very rapidly changing world. Imagine Silicon Valley, internet, software development. You can't really come much faster, right? Google might be the present-day counterpart for what General Motors was in the 1920s and Toyota was in the 1980s. So if we look back, we can see over time that we have had an evolution of management. We rarely talk about these things, but we have had an evolution of management in parallel with the evolution of technology, which most certainly changed the rule of the game. But when it does, we also need to alter the way we lead and organize. And we have done that. If you go back 114 years in time to the start of the 1900s, you see a number of management innovation that arise in the market due to the mass production. We had the assembly line, we had the job design, we had the M form, which is the divisional form of companies that GM was sort of first with. We had brand management that we still talk about as something more or less new from Procter & Gamble. And then something happens. In the 70s and 80s, we get a new span of management innovations, and that is all focused on quality. We start focusing on the customer, we start focusing on the employee as a potential problem solver. And we can laugh at that today, but suddenly we saw the employee as actually a potential resource to be part of problem solving in the organization, to solve quality problems. So we had the TQC, we had the TQM, we had the Lean, we had the Six Sigma, we had all these things well packaged by usually a consultancy company and out in the market. And today we have a boom in Lean. Everyone is talking about Lean. Lean came in 1988. It was sort of out there in word, but it's founded on older management philosophy before then. And then suddenly something happened again. The PC development starts, it's booming, we have the internet coming, and we have software becoming a dominant component, right? So we need to change again how we work. So we have the Agile Software Development Manifesto coming in 2001, and we have open innovation as a concept introduced by Henry Chesbrough in 2003. All as a result of the changes going on. So what I'm trying to say here before we go into Google is that some really good, clever companies or some researchers, usually it's one of these parties, they have come up with some unorthodox new management thinking or new management principles. Why should we organize in that way? Why should we lead in that way? Is that really the best way regarding how it looks like right now? And these unorthodox principles lead to new management concepts, which lead to new practices. And usually when you go out and compare, for example, when you study Google, you go directly into practices. And you want to see how do they lead, how do they organize, how do they think about HR. So you start in the bottom. And I would say that you have to start in the top. You have to understand what kind of fundamental principles are behind their choice of how they lead and how they organize. Otherwise, you will never understand that model they've chosen. Okay, so let's go into the new set of management principles. So we all heard about the Lean principles, right? I introduced this new set of management principles as a new thing. These are based on leading research, and it's also based on the one-year study of Google, and it's also based on studies after that. Number one, people-centric approach. In this fast-moving world where we have to innovate and we are living on our creativity, we need to focus on the intra-entrepreneur. We need to focus on the employee and the person, the people. And innovation is very much a social process, the interaction between people. We have to make sure that these clever people, these talented people, and the interaction between people are made very easy. We have to organize around the person instead of the opposite. Put that person into a box. Dynamic capabilities. We are more and more living in a symbiosis with our ecosystem and the external world. And the company need to be very, very skillful to sense, seize, and then to reallocate assets internally due to changes going on outside. Third, we have to continuously changing our organization. We have to have a mindset, a principle saying that if everything is changing so rapidly, we can't have a business model or an organization operational model that is maybe valid for more than 2 years. We have to continuously be prepared to change. And if we do believe that, we don't design an organization that is too rigid, right? You don't seek for perfection in something that you know will change in 1 or 2 years. Or you have to manage that. Ambidextrous organization is the fourth principle. You know, in this world, you know that you have to do both. Porter, he talked about stuck in the middle. Yes, we need to be stuck in the middle, and we have to be really, really excellent on that. We need to do both cost efficiency and innovation. And not only innovation, we need to be able to manage multiple horizons of different value streams. The current machine pumping out all these current products with scale. In parallel, we have value streams, producing the new products in 2 years, and then in parallel with that, maybe the 5 years, things coming up in 5 years. Fifth, believe in this world that we have to be an open organization. With shorter product life cycles, we can't focus on to do everything ourselves. We need to be open and innovate together with external partners. And we need to be really excellent networking. And then 6, we need a system approach. In order to be that skillful, we need to understand that the organization and an ecosystem are based on components that all are interdependent. If we change our HR, if we change our leadership in an organization, that will change other parts as well. We need to see an organization as a system. Okay, so if we go over to Google then, what have Google done that is so interesting, at least in my view? First, they have the founder and the top. So you start from the top, focused on innovation and continuous change all the time. They're continuously asking the question, why? Why is that good enough? Why do you do that in that industry? Why don't we do it like this instead? They are continuously seeking for disrupting. And as someone said to me yesterday, a CEO for a Silicon Valley-based software company, she said, if you don't wake up, as a CEO, if you don't wake up every morning and ask yourself, how can I disrupt my own industry? Someone else will do it for you. And this quote is wonderful. We don't stick to what works so much. We actually go out and change, even if it makes people feel uncomfortable or unhappy in the short term, if we are convinced that it's the right thing for the users in the long term. And this was this was visible over and over again in my study, that they are not afraid to challenge even their own core products. They do it over and over again. They disrupt themselves over and over again. 2, people. They overinvest in the selection of people. In my interview, it was 2 things that they thought was the most important drivers for innovation. It was people and the culture. The foundation is that top management, setting sort of the frame. The people were very carefully selected. It's curious people. It's people that are not happy with the status quo. They questioned all the time. They want to change the world. They are very humble. They are very smart. And I love that term that was dropped by the head of HR in Google, intellectual humility. It's really super smart people, but they know that if they stop learning, if they don't have that humility, the humbleness, they will stop learning, and then they will not be the smartest in the world anymore. And the company will not be the best in the world anymore longer. So intellectual humility, I love that word. So the ideal in Google is to hire someone who's better than yourself. 3rd, the culture. Surrounding these people that are the engine for innovation within Google, you have the culture. The culture is embracing and encouraging these people all the time, daily. And they even use the term googly. To be an innovation engine, to think big, to continuously move forward. They don't have that sense of time. Nothing can be done next week. Everything has to be done now or yesterday. You have to be fast and scalable, ambidextrous, right? And you have to focus on the user. If you do something really good for the user, you will earn money on it in the end. So the culture is key. And it's like a soft control mechanism within Google, which also means that they don't really need a lot of instructions. The culture tells the people what is prioritized or not, together with a well-defined system where they have well-defined priorities. Okay, 4th, in this world where you have people that are so talented, you have a culture that more or less guide them what to do and what to think and how to prioritize. you have leaders that step back. The leaders are there to tell why and what, but not how. These people they have been recruiting are so skillful, so talented, they don't need a leader to tell them what to do. And if they do that too much, which they call micromanagement, these people will leave. These are intra-entrepreneurs. They could be entrepreneurs outside. They could earn billion themselves. These people want freedom to innovate and to do their stuff. They are intelligent enough to do that. So the leaders coach them, they stand behind, make sure that take away all these inhibitors, stopping these talented people, which demand a lot of the leaders, right? It's a very mature leadership. Organization, dynamic, ambidextrous, and open. So this is a picture that came out on Google organization with the founders and Eric Smith some years ago. As you see, very flat, very much networking. They work on multiple time horizons. They have a semi-structured organization. They say that it's 50% chaos, it's 50% chaotic, it's 50% structure. They work very much in small teams, believe in small teams to have be fast, dynamic, and they also believe in low-cost experiments. They do a lot of experiments, which is low cost, so they can easily learn in this unsecure future what to choose. And they believe in openness. So, to conclude, I believe that we have to challenge conventional management thinking because it's not based on the world we're living in today. It's not based on exponential development logic. It's based on linear logic. Google might be the present-day counterpart to GM in the 1920s and Toyota in the 1980s. And I believe that the Google model is more than Google. The Google model could be a management concept for management for continuous innovation in a very rapid changing world. Thank you.